In 2020, I actually signed up for over 15 bogus small business loans.
The FBI is arresting thousands of people right now that took out PPP loans.
So in 2020, everybody was doing the PPP. My cousin did it, my brother did it, then my best friend did it.
Okay, so today we're going to be looking at a topic I talked about in my scam video, but you guys really wanted me to go more in depth, and that is the PPP loan fraud. Because if you've seen any of the clips on TikTok recently, people are finally getting caught after 4 years. And as crazy as it sounds, people are apparently recording their experiences for TikTok and views. We live in a crazy world now. Attention is the drug of choice. But we have a lot of info to go over in this video, along with some comments from you guys from previous videos. So if you want to be featured on a future video, leave it in the comments down below. But I think we should start off at the beginning, what the PPP loans were and how much money was given out in the first place.
$284 billion in stimulus money is now up for grabs, so pay attention if you are a small business owner. You can start applying for a PPP loan today if you are a first-time PPP borrower small business applying through a community financial institution. Now, these types of banks usually provide funding to underserved communities.
Then on Wednesday, second draw PPP loan applications will be accepted for small businesses applying again through those community financial institutions. The SBA says a few days later, applications for all other small businesses looking for a second draw of the PPP will be accepted.
Yes, you can get another PPP loan if you already received one in the past for your business. But this time around, there are some different rules. To qualify, you must have 300 employees or less. You must prove that you've had a 25% reduction in gross receipts between comparable quarters in 2019 and 2020. And just like before, if you follow the rules, these loans can be forgiven. This is all part of the stimulus package that was passed back in December. And it also includes a lot of tax deductions that will impact your business. All the rules and applications are available on SBA.gov, and the deadline to apply is March 31st.
Okay, so what it sounds like is that there were a lot of rules and qualifications just for you to be eligible. Now that number, $284 billion, is pretty large, but we fast forward a few years and then we start seeing videos like this.
The FBI is arresting thousands of people right now that took out PPP loans. Let me explain. During COVID, the US government put out a program to help small businesses pay payroll. The money did get dropped into your bank account and people were using it for not the correct purpose. But that's the small issue. The big issue was how easy it was to get this money. The entire application was, what is your name? Do you have a business? No verification, no one following up, and a few days later, $10,000 just dropped into your bank account. People were taking out these $10,000 free money loans, meaning they never had to pay them back, even if they didn't have a business. The FBI is actively issuing thousands, if not tens of thousands of arrest warrants for people that took out these loans for free money. The only people safe here are the legitimate businesses that took out the money and used the money correctly. Everyone that thought they got the $10,000, I'd be waiting because they're coming.
So all of those rules and qualifications from the first clip seem to get thrown right out the window. You basically just had to go online and say your name and business, and that was it. You just got $10,000. And when some found out about this and that it would be forgiven, they thought it was just free money. So they did it. They got their family members to do it. A little bit later in the video, we'll start seeing even more fraud with people taking each other's social security numbers to just constantly get an extra $10,000 each time. Starting to get into the realm of the Chase Bank glitch, where that was just blatant check fraud and people thought that was free money until a few days later their bank accounts were negative 5 or 6 figures. But this is legitimately happening. People are actually getting arrested. I know that when it comes to the government, everything moves slow as possible, but we are seeing clip after clip and news stories of this all the time now.
17 members of the Broward Sheriff's Office, which include both BSO deputies and detention deputies, released from the federal courthouse in Fort Lauderdale after being indicted on charges that include wire fraud after federal investigators said they fraudulently applied for and received funds from the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP loans. Attorney Brian Silber represents 3 of the defendants, some of whom have either been suspended or placed on leave pending the outcome of the investigation.
I can't comment on the nature of the case.
Sheriff Gregory Toney said he first learned of the crimes in November of 2021, prompting him to investigate all 5,500 of his employees, including himself and other top brass. Of the 17 indicted, 7 BSO deputies and 1 sergeant in law enforcement, and 8 detention deputies and 1 sergeant in corrections. We learned the defendants involved received tens of thousands of dollars, and while the investigation has proved that some of whom were investigated did have legitimate businesses, at the very least, the 17 now facing federal charges allegedly did not.
So literally anybody could apply for these loans. We have police officers in this clip. Later in the video, just random people. It did not matter. And I bet for quite a long time, so many people thought that they got away with it. It happened 4 years ago. It seems like an eternity now, but they're finally starting to catch up.
You wish that wasn't you, huh? They're coming for you. The funny thing is, y'all should have known that was a setup. They made it way too easy for you to get that money. They just asked, what was your name? Do you have a business? You said yes. Boom, $10,000. Now imagine waking up and finding out that there is a list and your name is on that, and you might be going to jail for something you did years ago. So if you took that loan out and you weren't sure if you had a warrant out for your arrest, there's a list for you to go find out. You might want to do that. One of the worst things about this, people took this money 4 years ago. So imagine thinking, yes, I got away with stealing money from the government. Well, you didn't. It just took them a while to come after you, but they had all the records for everything that you did. There's paper trail, which pointed out two things to me: how desperate some people were back in those times, and also the lack of common sense to know not to f with the government. And what's really sad, I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all spent the money on some that wasn't even worth it to begin with.
That seems to be the case as well with consumerism, especially since 2020. The amount of stuff people were buying that had absolutely no business in doing so, especially when you think you got a free $10,000. So now I could go buy whatever I want, random designer items, everything that depreciates and is completely useless long term. Come to find out a couple years later, you're actually going to get arrested for that $10,000. Now the next clip we have is a skit, but this is actually the story for so many of these people getting caught for fraud.
In 2020, I actually signed up for over 15 bogus small business loans, and since I'm already going to jail, it's time to tell my side of the story. Now, this scam started out like any other good scam: an error from the government, an opportunity for me. There was a form that you could fill out online, and it would ask you 3 questions. It would ask you, do you own a small business? You would check yes. Then it would ask you if you want $10,000. You check yes. And then it would say, do you promise you own a small business? And then you check yes again, and boom, 10,000 bucks. Now this process was like taking candy from a baby. So once I got the 10,000, I did the right thing and I told everyone I knew about. Now at first people were skeptical. They said, Drake, what do you mean you just answered 3 questions and then $10,000 appears in your account? But I assured them it was legit. So next thing you know, I was signing everybody up. I was taking their information, signing up for this loan, and then I was giving them 50 out of the $10,000. And until things went wrong, like really wrong, everybody was happy. And to be honest, no problems really occurred until they realized that, hey, maybe this Drake guy isn't a trapdoor salesman. Now in my defense and everyone else's defense who had taken this opportunity, what else were we supposed to do? Big Brother had came down, locked us down, and told us we couldn't make any money. We were just doing what we had to do. I'm just glad I got to come on here and tell my side of the story. It's been real, and I will see you in 3 to 6 years.
So obviously this wasn't real, but a few months ago, if you did look a little bit more into the Chase Bank glitch, very similar stories. A person found one of the TikToks that went viral showing some random guy doing it and making $10,000 for free. Then they end up doing it and it works. So what do? They tell their entire family, open up Chase Bank accounts if you don't have any. It's free money. Look at how much money I have in my hands right now. And then they start roping in a whole bunch of people that wouldn't have done it in the first place. They had no idea about it. Then when everything starts going south, seeing negative balances of $10,000 to hundreds of thousands of dollars in everybody's bank account, now everybody gets screwed. Same exact story with the PPP loans here, but we can look at some of the comments. I have a small business, an actual business, and I applied for the loans and got denied. I was mad then and I'm glad now. I mean, most likely it wasn't fraud then if they had a legitimate business, but overall probably don't want the government meddling into your business. That's just me though. I have a small business and couldn't get one. I, however, had a legitimate business and only got $3,000. So not only was it so easy to commit fraud, I guess it was difficult for people who had legitimate businesses to get the money. I mean, you have to love the government. Worked for a company that got the PPP loans based off of the numbers of employees. After they got the loan, they laid off half the staff. That's nice. And then we have a comment from you guys about one of your experiences. Someone else tried to apply for a loan under my name and social security. So I wouldn't doubt a whole bunch of people who have been dead for years. Information was taken from them and they magically got the loans as well. I only knew about it because I have a credit monitoring service. So if you didn't have this service or get any calls or try to take out the loan for yourself, you'd have no idea that this happened. I called a loan company and had it marked as fraud. My personal credit is now frozen, so any loan apps would fail due to me not being able to pull my credit. So it's just a huge pain for them now for something they clearly didn't do. So now we could get over to the crazy parts of the video. Now I wouldn't really doubt if this is real rage bait to get some attention online. But at the same time, the amount of stuff we've watched that people will share absolutely anything, very personal information online, just for some views and clicks, you can't really rule it out either.
So in 2020, everybody was doing the PPP. My cousin did it, my brother did it, then my best friend did it. I said, sign me up. Now, I wish I never did the shit. So, bro, 4 years after the money already spent, I get a knock at the door the other day. Boom, 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 boom. Dallas Police Department, open the door. We know you're inside. I open the door because I ain't do shit. What the hell y'all banging at my door like that for? Put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest. I'm like, damn, what the hell I do? Can I put my dog up? They're not giving me no information, not letting me put my dog up. Get to the van, take me downtown. I'm in booking, asking, what am I being arrested for? They're not giving me no information. I find out when I get in front of the judge, I got 4 charges. Bank fraud, wire fraud, making false statements, and tax evasion. So the judge never mentioned PPP. So it's not registering to me what am I actually here for. So he set my bond at $20,000. I go back to my cell. I'm talking to my cellmate and I tell him about the charges. He like, bro, that's for PPP.
So you could take this either way that you want, real or fake. However, with everything we've seen over the past few months with people sharing all of their information about the Chase Bank glitch fraud, about the welfare fraud, and now the PPP loans, you'd think some would start seeing the pattern and deter people from trying to commit fraud. But even making these types of videos showing as many people as I could, or you watching these videos for yourselves, it's just basically a cycle over and over again of people trying to get something over on somebody else and then getting caught for it. And to add on top of it, it's being broadcasted on social media for clicks and views. Now, earlier in the video, we saw a clip where a guy said the people who did commit fraud and get tens of thousands of dollars most likely didn't even buy something that was worth it, just random crap. So we have another clip from the same person.
So everybody wants to know, what did I spend my PPP money on that's worth me going to jail for 20 years? None of it's worth me going to jail for 20 years. Let's just get that out the way. But I did get this $10,000 limited edition Michelet watch that I really, really wanted. I got this $1,600 Gucci bracelet that I absolutely love. I also picked up these lovely Gucci shades and I adore these. Also got me a pair of Cartier shades. If you're not from the Midwest, you don't know about the Cartis, baby. I also got me these pair of Alexander McQueens, which I've yet to wear, but I'm gonna wear them one day. And then my favorite purchase is this $1,700 Gibson guitar. You know, I don't know how to play the guitar, but I was gonna put LED lights behind it and put it on my wall in my room and have it look all pretty and all that stuff. I never got around to doing it. And then besides that, I just got like little knickknacks. This shirt, I got an iPad. I took a trip to Atlanta, me and my friends. I only paid for myself though. Just little stuff, yeah. None of it was worth it, but y'all want to know what I did with the money? That's what I did.
And I think this fueled the fire for rampant consumerism as a whole over the past 5 years, with people legitimately making a whole bunch of money in the stock market, or the house that they already had appreciated and they sold it for huge profits. And it seemed like everybody had some sort of Mercedes SUV and a really expensive watch. The whole watch market exploded in value as well. Everybody's wearing designer, looking super rich. And then you have some people seeing you could get a free $10,000 from the government. Then you could buy a whole bunch of crap you really don't need to look like you make money in front of other people. And not only is it just a waste in general, you're going to get in trouble for it. So we have a quick clip of somebody talking about how long they could actually try to prosecute all of these people, because again, so many thought that they got away with it because it was years ago. The government's not paying attention. They're dealing with stuff that's happening in 2025.
What is going on, everyone? Ex-federal underwriter here for the SBA. I worked on PPP and EIDL loans. And yes, there was so much fraud that it was unbelievable. And yes, there's a fraud prevention system in place. And yes, for those people that have lied on their application at some point because of the 10-year period that you're signed to, they will come after you.
So for anybody who hasn't gotten caught yet, even with so many stories coming out, they still have another 6 years worth of investigating that you're going to somehow have to try to dodge until you're actually home free. So that's several years worth of anxiety waiting for the police to knock on your door. Not something that I'd want to have to deal with at all, but we have another comment from one of you guys. The bad thing about the loan is how only rich people got to play that scam. They literally paid themselves and held lavish parties and didn't have to pay it back. A normie does the same thing and is facing decades in prison, and that's what we've seen since the start of this video. So we could go a little bit more in depth on that comment.
The government spent $14.5 billion to support the entertainment industry during COVID, but some of the biggest names in music sent that money mostly to their own pockets.
So Chris Brown, he got $10 million. That's the maximum allowable grant. Out of that $10 million, he paid himself $5.1 million. And then he spent another $80,000 on a 33rd birthday party for himself. All of it paid for by taxpayers.
Marshmallow. Christopher Comstock is his legal name. Christopher Comstock paid himself $9.9 million.
Steve Aoki, who is a famous DJ, but fun fact, his dad founded Benihana, took $1.9 million just for himself.
Members of Shinedown were taking home hundreds of thousands of dollars apiece.
A single member of the band Shinedown got more than all of their touring employees.
Alice in Chains got, I think, somewhere north of $6 million, and more than $3 million of that went into these band members' pockets. We found one guy who had worked with Alice in Chains for a long time. Scotty Doc is what people call him. During the pandemic, he was diagnosed with cancer, and AIC Entertainment's budget shows that it didn't spend a dime on health insurance.
It's not really clear how much help Alice in Chains gave to him. They're not listed as contributors to his GoFundMe, and somebody familiar with the situation told us that they referred him to a charity to help with his medical bills. But 2 weeks after posting the GoFundMe, he had died.
So one of the loopholes with these types of loans, when you're talking about people who are genuinely super wealthy, all the rich celebrities making tens or hundreds of millions of dollars, still were able to apply for these loans and get a percentage back, which would still turn into ungodly amounts of money. And it all was technically legal, even though most of these people don't need another dime for the rest of their lives. So stupid as it is for these normal people trying to pull one over on the government and get a free $10,000, I don't think people like Steve Aoki or Marshmallow or Chris Brown really need that COVID relief, especially when he had a birthday party. But it does not end there.
Did you know that Tom Brady, Kanye West, Jay-Z, Reese Witherspoon, and Khloe Kardashian took out PPP loans during the pandemic? I guess they needed a little help from the government. Let's go over and see how much they took out. Kanye West's loan amount was $2 to $5 million. He wanted to help his 106 employees. His valuation on the business that took out the loan is $3 billion. I don't know, Kanye. I think the first day on interest for you could have paid your employees. Just a thought. Khloe Kardashian, like you don't have enough, but that's okay. You could take more from us. We're okay. Did you know Billy Joel got $1 million PPP loan? Yes. He did not disappoint like the rest of them.
All right, I know she's being over the top, but it is on purpose, just showing how ridiculous. I mean, one of the Kardashians getting money, I think we all know how much they make as a family. Probably don't need any loans or relief from the government, but they were technically allowed to do it. So in the end, it does seem like some get to bend the rules, especially when they don't need the money in the first place. And normal people are dumb enough to try to commit fraud. They are clearly going to get caught, and a lot of people are still very happy about it.
Boy, it's a good day to be a law-abiding citizen, man. I tell you, bro. A lot of people that thought y'all got away with that PPP loan, it just took them 4 years. But they own y'all ass now. But they knocked on that girl door. She tried to call her mama. Her mama, I don't know nothing about that. Hey, you might as well go with them. You might as well go with them. I don't know nothing. Her mama was saying, just go with them, bro. It's like, hey, are you this person? I don't know. Let me go in the bank and make a call. Are you this person? But they got her for the PPP loan, bro. She thought she was slick. Y'all thought y'all slick. Listen, I ain't wishing jail on nobody. But us people, they know that didn't do the PPP loan. We just kept doing what we had to do. We struggled. You know what I'm saying? Because we knew y'all day was finally coming. And y'all day finally coming now. I said, I don't wish jail on nobody, but y'all thought y'all got away with it. Everybody bragging, oh, I did the PPP loan. They never went to jail. Now you're going to jail. And us law-abiding citizens, we can celebrate like, hey, we didn't do it. But it's crazy. But like, they knock on her door, try to call her mama. It's too late to call your mama now. They sent you letters. They put you. It's too late. I'm sorry, bro. Get out of here.
So real quick, we could look at some of the comments. I wanted to do it for my business so bad. I had a bakery, but my mom said, don't invite the government into your business. And I didn't. That's honestly what I was thinking as well, even though she wouldn't have been committing fraud. She had a legitimate business, but still probably want the government out of my business as much as possible. From the example he was talking about in the clip, we could see that was unemployment fraud, not the PPP loans, but it still applies because it was another form of relief and fraud that people were doing during the exact same time when COVID was just handing out money to virtually anybody, I guess. And we could actually see the example he was talking about.
I can't go to jail, Mom.
I understand.
So,
Desi, you have to go. I don't know what's going on, but You can't fight it. Yeah,
On September 13th, 2024, a woman named Destiny Harris gets a knock on her door from police with a warrant for her arrest for unemployment fraud that she allegedly committed 4 years ago. But let's take it back to 2020. In the wake of the COVID-19 outbreak, numerous Americans lost their jobs, resulting in a significant rise in unemployment applications. This also led to some people attempting to exploit the system for benefits they were not eligible for. A financial investigator with the Department of Economic Opportunity informs a detective in the city of Delray Beach that 4 people had reported they received unemployment claims by employees who were still currently employed. An investigation was then initiated. 3 months later, after all the information was collected on the claimants, their phone providers were issued subpoenas. Detectives find one of the claimants was victim of identity theft while the other 3 had filed for benefits themselves.
Now, one thing that I always think is interesting is that people don't think that there's a paper trail when it comes to something online, when virtually almost everything is online now. Whether you're talking about computers or any of the phones and tablets, the amount of information it's taking from you at every single tap of your phone or click of the mouse is stored somewhere that somebody could access it. So any of these forms you're signing, any of the loans, don't just disappear as soon as you click accept and you start committing unemployment fraud for years. Again, we all know the government works as slow as humanly possible, and if they found a whole bunch of people committing fraud, taking money from them, you know they're going to come for you at the end of the day. And we're just going to keep seeing these types of clips and news articles over and over again for a number of years, I'm guessing.
Y'all, the entrepreneur streets are talking. So in Chicago, in Will County, 22 people have been arrested for PPP fraud. So apparently, these 25 people were already incarcerated. Someone outside of the jail decided that they were going to help them get the PPP loan by creating fake business accounts, fake information, and giving them these accounts so that way when they get their PPP loan, they could literally post their own bond. So CPD decided they were going to have a private investigation look into this. So they ran everybody's name in Will County that got a PPP and also tried to see if they got a felony, because if you have a felony, you cannot classify or qualify for a PPP loan. So the news is getting out. So 14 people have already been arrested and they're looking for 6 to 8 more that actually are on the run. So you scammers, please beware.
So we have people taking others' identity and social security number. We have people helping inmates trying to take their information to get the loans. I wouldn't doubt some of these scammers would take information of people who recently died and ran the exact same fraud. And I think this story is only going to get even worse. I think this will be interesting to look at in a couple months from now. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and I'll talk to you guys later.